Good afternoon. My name is Balpreet Singh. I'm legal counsel with the World Sikh Organization of Canada. So I'll jump right to it. Our concern is that portions of Bill C-9 risk undermining lawful political expression, peaceful protest, and religious freedom, particularly in the context of ongoing Indian foreign interference and transnational oppression targeting Sikhs in Canada. One of the most important things that this committee should understand is that Bill C-9 has already become the subject of a widespread Indian disinformation campaign targeting Sikhs in Canada. Major Indian media outlets have already claimed that Bill C-9 was introduced to crack down on support for Khalistan, which is a sovereign Sikh state, and ban the display of Khalistan flags in Canada. So I'll read you a couple of examples. The New Indian Express reported with the headline, "Canada tightens laws against hate symbols, Khalistan-linked flags in focus." News 18, which is another prominent platform, "Canada passes Anti-Hate Act. Indo-Canadians hail long overdue move against Khalistani extremism." And a third, "New anti-hate bill in Canada will curb pro-Khalistan imagery." So these reports falsely suggest that Canada introduced Bill C-9 under pressure from India to target Khalistan advocacy in order to mend diplomatic ties with India, and has in fact banned the display of Khalistan flags or pro-Khalistan imagery. The goal of this disinformation is to create fear and suspicion around pro-Khalistan advocacy in Canada and in the community. So Indian disinformation isn't unusual or unexpected. I'm going to quote you from the final report of the Foreign Interference Commission, which warned, and I'll quote, "India also uses disinformation as a key form of foreign interference against Canada, a tactic likely to be used more often in the future. India's activities primarily target the approximately 800,000 members of the Sikh diaspora in Canada and aim to promote a pro-India and anti-Khalistan narrative." I'm going to read you another quote from the final report. "India continues to develop its cyber capabilities, assesses that India will likely seek to promote pro-India and anti-Khalistan narratives in Canada using cognitive warfare techniques." So that context is very important when it comes to considering C-9. The chilling effect of C-9 and the disinformation surrounding it has already been felt by my community. So on April 26th of this year, so about a month ago, Sikhs had their annual Khalsa Day parade in Toronto. The organizers and the WSO received numerous inquiries from the Sikh community asking whether Khalistan flags had become illegal under Bill C-9. We also became of an incident at Nathan Phillips Square in Toronto, where a Toronto police officer advised members of the Sikh community present that Khalistan flags would not be permitted because Bill C-9 had now passed. Although this misunderstanding was eventually corrected, it demonstrated the confusion and fear that vague legislation combined with foreign disinformation can create. A related concern is with respect to the proposed offense regarding symbols associated with listed entities. The language in Bill C-9 is vague and overly broad. The Khanda is the central Sikh emblem. It appears on the Nishan Sahib flag outside every Sikh Gurdwara in Canada. It's also used by Sikh charities, community organizations, etc. It's also used by some listed entities which have used variations of the Khanda in their imagery. Bill C-9 provides little guidance on how police officers are expected to determine what symbols are associated with, quote unquote, a listed entity, what degree of resemblance is sufficient, and whether a symbol is being displayed for religious, cultural, political, or whatever purposes. Frontline officers should not be expected to make immediate determinations about complex religious and political symbolism during a demonstration or public event. This is particularly concerning given the increasing pressure generated by foreign disinformation portraying Sikh advocacy as extremism. Police officers themselves can be influenced by disinformation, and this may lead to erroneous judgment on what are classified as restricted symbols. The legislation risks encouraging enforcement first and legal analysis after, at the cost of individual freedoms. The result is a serious risk of arbitrary enforcement and a chilling effect on lawful expression. The third concern we'd like to share with you is with respect to protests near places of worship and community spaces. We've seen Sikh community members peacefully protest outside locations hosting Indian consular camps, including community centers and places of worship, temporarily being used for governmental or political functions. Bill C-9 doesn't distinguish between protests targeting religious, community, or worship activity and protests directed at political government activities located at a place that also functions as a place of worship. That distinction is important. A place of worship that's being used for political or consular functions temporarily should not automatically become insulated from peaceful protest. Without clear safeguards, there's a real risk that lawful demonstrations could be restricted simply because of where they occur. So in conclusion, I'm going to make the following recommendations to this committee. One, amend C-9 to provide a closed and clear defined list of prohibited symbols established through transparent regulation and subject to regular review. Secondly, remove or substantially narrow the provisions relating to symbols associated with quote-unquote listed entities and symbols that quote-unquote so nearly resemble such symbols. Third, amend C-9 to explicitly clarify that the legislation does not prohibit lawful protests directed at political, government, or diplomatic activities occurring at a place ordinarily used for worship or community purposes. And finally, ensure enforcement is limited to situations involving genuine threats, violence, harassment, and physical obstruction assessed using objective standards.